As you know, I just did a video about the Da Vinci Code, and I'm also going to look at the book that came after the Da Vinci Code, which was called The Lost Symbol. Now, this book is basically Masonic propaganda. And this book is all about Freemasons, actually. All the main characters are Freemasons, and this book has not been made into a movie, but it could be revealing a bit too much. And maybe there's things in this book that they just don't want out there. All right, now let's take a closer look at this seal. And you can see here it's the dual-headed phoenix, right? One head, two heads, which, as Manly P. Hall says, this is a symbol of the androgyne. You got the triangle representing divinity, and also the male and the female coming together into unity, the balancing of opposites. And right here it says, it's hard to see, it says order out of chaos. And you also see this on the Whitesnake album covers, this wax seal, right? The invitation for the initiate. There's the owl with the invitation and the seal. So this starts out with this guy. He says, chapter 2, I am a masterpiece. And he's talking about people offering up their bodies in partial sacrifice, emerging as changed beings. This guy's covered in tattoos, all right? The intoxicating feeling of control derived from physical transformation had addicted millions to flesh-altering practices, even bulimia and transgendering. So right away there's a connection between tattooing, which was a practice of the pagan nations, as was transgendering. That's in the Bible, right? Which is another reason this is forbidden in the Bible. Just like tattooing is, transgendering is something the nations did. Israelites were not supposed to do the things that the pagans did because the pagans and the mystics had different gods. The rebellious entities were given authority over these pagan nations. And then they started to act as if they were gods, and people began to worship them and follow their teachings. And their teachings were basically alchemy, that people can become gods themselves. And on the very next page, they say this guy had just become a 33rd degree Freemason. And then he's at home. Throughout his entire home, audio speakers broadcast the eerie strains of a rare recording of a castrato singing the Lux Aeterna, eternal light. So again, just kind of a passing notion that this person is listening to a castrated male opera singer. I mean, who sits around listening to castratos? Well, I guess we kind of all do if you've ever listened to the radio recently, but this person is intentionally listening to a castrato. More than half of the framers of our Constitution were Masons. Men who strongly believed that the stars and fate were intertwined, men who paid close attention to the layout of the heavens as they structured their new world. And right here, perceptions of the modern Masons ranged from there being a group of harmless old men who like to play dress-up, right? They're talking about Masons cross-dressing right here.
You know, you're really beautiful. And a woman that looks like that has to have her own special scent.
Maybe you could tell me what you think of this scent.
I like that.
Harmless old men who like to play dress-up, all the way to an underground cabal of power brokers who ran the world. The truth was somewhere in the middle. Well, yeah, they're all a bunch of trannies, all right? If you ask a Mason, he would offer the following definition. Masonry is a system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols.
Oh, you dirty boy, you. Oh, Donald, I thought you were a gentleman.
You can't say I didn't try.
Transformation. This is my gift. He could feel the wings of the tattooed phoenix on his chest opening wide. All right, he's got a phoenix tattooed on his chest. My transformation will be complete. The ancient invitation has been delivered. Someone was summoning Langdon to unlock a mystical portal that would unveil a world of ancient mysteries and hidden knowledge. All right, that's alchemy. Modern polarity is nothing but the dual world described by Krishna here in the Bhagavad Gita over 2,000 years ago. A dozen other books here, including the Kybalion, talk about the binary systems and the opposing forces in nature. The Kybalion by 3 initiates. The current transgender agenda going on right now is written in this book right here, which is supposedly like 100 years old. The 7 Hermetic principles, which are a principle of mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and number 7, the principle of gender of all things. And they even break it down into gender and mental gender. Mental transmutation, right? That's another common word you see in these alchemy books. Transmutation, mutants. Principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Every male thing has the female element. Every female contains also the male principle. Right? So this is the transgender agenda, achieving this unity, balancing the polar opposites, creating a new world. This is about alchemy. All right, so back to this book. All right, so now this guy, his name is Moloch, and he got that from Moloch. All right, so this is the guy who changed his name to Moloch, and he removed his testicles, all right, like the mystical eunuch monks in the past. All right, and he talks about the great castrati magicians, the castrated magicians like Attis and things like that, which is what the Statue of Liberty is based on. So first this guy changed his name to Andros, like Andro as in man, and then he became Moloch or Moloch, very similar. Moloch is an androgyne, right? Androgynos. Look at this. It says transformation requires sacrifice. Like the mythological self-castrated Attis, Moloch knew that achieving immortality required a clean break with the material world of male and female. The androgyne is one. Such was the nature of polarity. All right. Philosopher's Stone, immortality, the androgyne, Moloch. All right. I think we got ourselves a Baphomet. All right. From the Bible to the Bhagavad Gita to the Quran and beyond, all of these texts are revered upon the altars of Freemasonry because Masons understand what the world seems to have forgotten. Each of these texts is quietly whispering the exact same message, know ye not that ye are gods. It comes from this quote here, Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods? He's not telling the Pharisees that they are gods, all right? It's a direct quote, and it comes from Psalm 82. This is the divine council, all right? The small g gods, the congregation of created spiritual beings, kind of like a celestial government. And then he says, I said, you are Elohim, and all of you are sons of the Most High. But you will die like men. Why? Because of what we saw earlier in Deuteronomy 32, that these beings were given authority over the nations, but they turned evil. And now as a punishment, they will die like men. So the divine council kind of had a mutiny, and they wanted to become gods themselves, right? Now Isaiah 41 talks about the similar thing. Ye are gods is mentioned. But then he says, behold, ye are of nothing, and your work of naught. An abomination is he that chooses you. So the Masons like to take Bible verses out of context and twist them into their own satanic doctrine. And as we saw in the UK, this book is published by Transworld Publishers around the world, Doubleday. We see the Vesica Pisces emblem all over the place. The two circles conjoined into one, right? The male and female into one. Now, this book takes place in Washington, D.C., full of Masonic symbolism. And you see there the two circles conjoined into one. The pyramid on top, and directly north of this obelisk, it's the house of the temple, the Freemasonic Lodge. Directly north of the androgyne, the all-seeing eye in the middle, the androgynous eye, the point within the circle, and we see this in the Vatican and all over the place. So it's the Vesica Pisces, pretty much everywhere you look. It's all about the androgyne. And if we look east, we see that this thing kind of points directly towards the Capitol building, and it looks like a Masonic compass. All right, and you got the triangle pointing up there at the Capitol building, where the House just voted to pass the Androgyny Act, all right, the Alchemy Act, the hexagram, the six-pointed star, the two triangles, right, male and female triangles combined into one. And in fact, I believe the Capitol building there looks like a butterfly, right? Transformation. And it's hidden in plain sight, all right? And that's basically what this book is about. The Lost Symbol is about this agenda, and he says favorable things about Masonry. Pro-Kabbalah, pro-Zohar, pro-androgyne, all right? Universal consciousness, All is one. The whole thing is talked about openly in this book. The celestial androgyne has returned. The United States was established to transform the world and to establish the satanic kingdom on earth.